I'll call to order the February 8th, 2022 Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. Carrie, would you please take the roll?
Charles Kruger,
Here.
Mike Portelease,
Here.
Joel Dendu,
Here.
Chris Torty,
Here.
Larry Stilson.
Here.
I'm going to briefly go over the rules of procedure for the public hearing, both for those in person and those attending virtually. There will first be a presentation by the individuals seeking an appeal, the appellant. First, we'll have those in the room. They will speak in favor, excuse me, anyone that's in the room will first present their appeal, and then those wishing to speak in favor of the appeal will be allowed their time. Those wishing to speak against the appeal will be given their time. The appellant will have the right of rebuttal to respond to any of those statements. There will then be a board discussion and a board vote. If you're online and if you're not speaking, if you would please mute your line. Board members, any conflict of interest with any of the appeals that we have this evening?
No.
I will quickly say the order of appeals. That way, if anyone is appearing virtually, they'll be able to know when their time is going to be up. It'll first be Appeal 21-44, and then it will be Appeal 22-01. With all of that being said, we will begin with Appeal 21-44, an appeal submitted by Joseph Greisinger and Travis Versleip requesting a developmental variance for 807 West 3rd Street for reduced parking. Anyone in the room wishing to speak to that appeal, if you would please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Travis Versleip. I'm a part owner of West End Properties. Joe Greisinger is my other partner. We both lived in Mishawaka our whole life. We just bought this property from somebody that owned it for 30 years, Vic Casnia. So the first variance that we're here for today is, one is to add 2 apartments to this building. And the second one is in reference to the parking spaces. As of now, you need 1.5 parking spaces per unit. The variance we're here for today is to get 1 per unit, and then they have 1 extra for a guest. Originally, we have the square footage in the building in the back to do 3 apartments, but after discussing with the planning department, we compromised and came up with a plan to do 2 apartments that would keep us within that 1 parking spot per unit, and then that would give us 1 extra for a guest. Our plan is to have the parking lot, we have 2 dry wells right now, to have it professionally marked, painted. We also have enough room 8 foot between the building and enough room for the space between the alley. So, but yeah, me and Joe, we take pride in, we both have lived in the city of Mishawaka our whole lives, work within the city limits. We want to be able to give clean, affordable housing for people in Mishawaka, and that's why we're here.
Board members, any questions for Mr. Versleip? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Is there anyone attending in person that would like to speak in favor of the appeal?
Yes.
Please step forward, state your name and address.
Vic Casnia Jr., 4012 Harrison Creek Court Drive in Mishawaka. My father was the original owner of the building that these 2 gentlemen now own, and he had very similar plans to do the same thing with about 15 years ago, and just after he retired, time kind of got away from him. So I think it's a good use. I don't think it's going to disrupt the neighborhood, and I just want to speak in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else attending in person that would like to speak in favor of the appeal? Now virtually, anyone attending virtually that would like to speak in favor of the appeal? Anyone attending in person that would like to speak in opposition to the appeal? Yes, please. Please come up and state your name and address.
Eric Walchli, and I have an office at 819 Lincoln Way West and Smith Street. The premise of our objection is primarily general crowding of the neighborhood with rental units. At 807 3rd Street, there are technically 10 parking spots now based on the picture there. There are 4 in the back, 2 in the front, and then whatever left over on the street, I guess. When I say 10, I look at the back area, and probably you could pack in 10 cars there, double stack. However, the 4 rental units right now have access from the street and the front door access from the street. So people don't really, I assume, people from these apartments do not park in the back where there is a lot of space. So 4 rental units would require, per code, 6 lots, 6 parking spots. And that would really mean with 2 available in the front on the street side, 4 will end up on the street. 4 cars will end up on the street. The other issue I have is it's zoned C5. If you have multi-family units, if you plan a development of multi-family, you have to apply R3. And R3 requires a minimum of 10,000 square feet of lot size. The lot has 7,405 square feet, so that is basically 135% overcrowded. The street frontage required for R3 is 90 feet. We have only 49 on that plot, and that is only 54% what is required per code. So these are kind of the objection. I think overall, Smith Street as well as 3rd Street has a lot of rental units there in that general area. And I would like to read now 4 paragraphs of the letter I have submitted. I have to say that in the last few days, the back area was not plowed. So even if somebody from the front apartment would want to park in the back, they couldn't, and literally that parking area is always free, from what I've seen. So already now 3rd Street is crowded with parking on both sides of the street. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, trash days, the street is besieged with trash and recycling cans and cars from all the rental apartment units in that area. If cars are parked on both sides, 2 cars approaching in opposite direction are not able to pass. So one has to navigate. In the winter, with the snow piled on the street, the situation is even worse. And I submitted 2 pictures. Maybe you guys can put them on, which shows the crowding of the street. Furthermore, I state again, and when I say I state again, I already made once a comment on another appeal 2 years ago. Smith Street and 3rd Street behind is full of rental units. Some of them are kept up well, but others give an impression of carelessness, overcrowding, and simple poor housekeeping. Around the house and on the street, from trash, cluttered, broken down cars, one can see all. It is really not pretty, in my opinion. I operate my small professional office on the corner of Lincoln Way and Smith Street. Constantly, I clean the street from rubbish and leftover trash from the properties around me and bypassers. Literally, every morning, my first thing when I arrive at the office is walk the street and pick up from cups, bottles, you name it. When I get my occasional visitors, I always have to explain myself as they make comment on the neighbors, the visitors. I should not have to explain myself. Also, Smith Street and the neighborhoods east, west, and to the south should represent a clean, safe neighborhood Mishawaka is accustomed to. Allowing more rental units, crowding in this area does not help. Therefore, we object